Hi there, welcome to the overview of week 6, lesson 1. And given that this is our only assignment for this week, we're just going to build a plot diagram through a storyboard. And again, resources are always on the week 6 optional resources page if you want videos and extra support. So our tasks for this week, you're going to take notes on plot diagram. That's number 1. Number 2, you're going to choose a list that's provided below of a poem that we've read. There's one that we haven't read yet, but you choose one of those poems and you draw the plot diagram through a storyboard. And you just make sure that you use a quote for each of the parts of the plot diagram. Using the poem as inspiration, you're then in step 3 going to create your own story. And it doesn't have to be entirely new. You can still take inspiration from the poem, but you can only keep a maximum of 3 plot points inside your own story that can be the same. And then you're going to describe what's happening underneath in each text box. And then finally, you're going to either write a response or record yourself going over the storyboards, and that will be your final part of this grade for this week. So here are the notes. You can do that at your own leisure. I'll also have a video available later as well. So in task 2, all you have to do is just choose one of these 5 poems, and you're going to create a plot diagram through a storyboard. So these first 4 we've already read in the past. You can go ahead and look over those too. Or if you think that these might be a little bit too difficult, you can look at Federico's Ghost. And I find the plot building a plot diagram for this can be potentially easier than the other ones, but again, everyone's different. So those are your options right there. And then after you're building a plot diagram, you're going to create your own diagram of your own story that takes inspiration of that. And again, you can only keep a maximum of 3 of the plot points being the same. And then finally, you either write a response or upload a video going over the 2 plot diagrams that you create. Link for the storyboard is right here. This is what it will look like. So again, you have your 6 points of a plot, and you will draw the poem here in order with its exposition, conflict, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. And each time that you're drawing this part, make sure that you quote part of the poem so that I know what you're drawing. I'm just going from my own experience. I am not the greatest artist, and even I need some reference to see what am I drawing there. After that, you're going to build your own story, and you can keep up to 3 of these parts be the same from the poem, but you're still going to take inspiration. And why are we doing this? We're doing it because almost every story that's made is inspired by another story that has already happened. So if you look at the slideshows, I use The Lion King, which just takes inspiration from Hamlet by Shakespeare. If you remember the short story that we read, There Will Come Soft Rains, that's inspired from a poem that was called There Will Come Soft Rains. Romeo and Juliet, that you looked at last year, was inspired by an Italian poem. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take inspiration from these works and create our own works there. So what is that going to look like? Well, you can either use these storyboards, that's fine. You can do it this way. You can either use this as a template or print it out and just take pictures and share it with me. Or I've also seen people use a Google Slides, because you just turn Google Slides into 6 different slides and create your own storyboard there. But this is what it will look like potentially. I chose The Lion King. So instead of a poem, I chose the movie, because that's what our slideshow is on. Lion King right here. Wrote my name. So for exposition, I just talk about the beginning when Simba's being born, and my quote is the song The Circle of Life. The conflict that I choose is when Scar kills Mufasa, and I just have the quote here, Long Live the King. Rising action, I chose the whole song of Hakuna Matata, when they when you see Simba grow up from a child to an adult. And if you notice, I'm not the greatest artist. I'm not expecting a masterpiece. I'm not expecting everyone to be Da Vinci here. I just want you to have, the ideas identified from the poem. The climax is the final fight between Scar and Simba, and I have the quote, I killed Mufasa. The following action is when Scar dies and is eaten by hyenas. And again, I just use the symbol of a tombstone to represent that. And then finally, the resolution or conclusion is that Simba's son is born, and it's very similar. Circle of Life is playing, except that's supposed to be Simba with Rafiki on top, and that's our poem. So that would be task 2. Then task 3, I create my own story. Take an inspiration. So for my idea, I used a story of like changing it, so it's more of Scar's perspective instead of Simba's perspective of the Lion King. I changed the title to King No More. So instead of Simba being born, the exposition is that Scar is in the elephant graveyard, and he's trying to overthrow a monarchy or the king, which is Mufasa, and he doesn't want to become king in the story. He just wants to eliminate so that more animals are equal and have more representation. So I changed the exposition, that's why I highlighted it. The conflict stays the same. He still kills Mufasa and Simba still runs away. That's why he says, long live the king, but in this idea, it's still being ironic. The rising action, instead of having us see Simba grow up and having this relaxed upbringing, I changed it so that Scar is no longer a king. He introduces democracy, and because of that, there's this massive realm of peace, and where lions are on the top of Pride Rock now all animals have an equal level playing field. I kept the climax the same in the respect that Simba comes back to fight Scar. Unfortunately, I also kept that Scar gets killed by Simba, but instead of having hyenas eat Scar, he will be eaten by the lions because those were the people that lost the most amount of power. And finally, the resolution I changed where I have Zazu being inspired by Scar, sees that a monarchy is back, but he is building a new resistance to make everything a democracy again. And that is the example that I have. If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, you don't have to draw your storyboard. You can find other ways for me. You can use Google Slides or other programs. Just look at the resource page and I can help you from there. If any questions, please let me know. Good luck.